Yes, we are live. Welcome back, my dear friends. This is episode number 64 of Zero Point Healing Show. And in this show, we have the main important topic of all, which is the childhood trauma. So we are going to discuss about childhood trauma and how it is affecting our lives and how we can overcome the childhood trauma. And we are going to discuss about the modality, the completion process. I have an amazing practitioner with me today. But before I go on to her, just a short intro about me. I am Vishnupriya and I'm certified in multiple different healing modalities. And through my journey going through different modalities, I found that each modality has a beautiful, I would call it a key to unlock the new doors in our lives. So that's what I personally experienced in my life. And that kind of motivated me to start up with this kind of platform, which I call the zeropointhealing.com. It is a web directory of all healers and therapists and practitioners and facilitators of all sorts of holistic healing modalities. We have about 45 to 50 different healing modalities that is registered in the website with lots and lots of practitioners and healers. So uh, regardless of what kind of problems you're facing in life, whether it is the money side of things, the financial problems, or relationship problems, or the health problems, right? Those are the three major areas of our lives. Regardless of the type of problems you're facing in your life, there are solutions. And especially when it comes to health, there are solutions without going to the conventional medicine system. I would love to call holistic healing as a new upgrade of this beautiful 20th century, even though it's not all new, everything roots back 5,000 years back, but we are just bringing it again to light, I should say. So these beautiful healing modalities help us turn within and find the solutions because we hold all solutions within ourselves. So that's what this is all about. And if you are a holistic healer of any kind of healing modality, I welcome you to zeropointhealing.com. You can register for free. And if you're interested in this kind of interview with me, you can contact me for that as well. All right, I'm moving on to my guest today. Welcome, Rowan. Thank you so much for being with me today. And it's my honor to have you and have this beautiful conversation all about childhood trauma. So tell us a little bit about you and what motivated you to enter into this holistic healing space.
Yeah, my name is Rowan Garlow. I'm 27. I live in the Pacific Northwest. I'm originally from Michigan. And I, like a lot of people, struggled my entire life with depression and anxiety and a lot of just really confusing things. And I really had no idea what was happening with me or where to start. And it was really after I moved I have a degree in holistic health, and that really sort of was a framework for shaping or getting into things like, meditation, the power of now, yoga. So I was really learning this foundational piece of how important it is when we're talking about health to bring in the total picture of a person, the total picture of society, and how we really need to be looking at people as containing all of these different pieces that we need to work with. So, and then when I left Michigan and I moved to Los Angeles, I had like a total mental, emotional breakdown. I was definitely at the lowest point I had ever been. And I started seeking out what the only resource I really had, which was traditional therapies. And that got me, so far, but it was really finding, I think completion process when I moved to Portland was one of the first alternative modalities that I found. And it was sort of like night and day because it was so different than what I had been doing before, even though I really still appreciated the foundation of what I had gained. And it was like, whoa. So just kind of broke open my whole world of there's people that are doing really intense integrative healing that I'm not seeing in the mainstream. Yeah.
That's so beautiful, and love to hear your story of, I think all of us have this kind of story where we went through the problems and somehow we found a solution, and then the solution inspired us to take on that as a profession and help our fellow humans out there who are going through our own problems. So coming to the topic of childhood trauma, so tell us how completion process is actually helping us overcome this kind of childhood and development trauma specifically.
Yeah, so what's really cool about the completion process is that we're working with triggers that the adult has now. But a lot of people don't realize that when that trigger is happening in the now, it's so often related to and connected to this web of experiences, of beliefs, of thoughts, of emotions, memories that are all sort of patterned and set up from really early infancy all the way through childhood. And it's that framework or that internal program that's sort of set up that we're running on that is determining how we're responding to our environment as adults. And so with completion process, we take this trigger that's happening in adulthood and we really through Vipassana, we go back in time and we find out, when was the first time that I felt this feeling? When was the first time this was created? And so we're basically digging up the root. And when we dig up the root like that, we're able to essentially heal or renegotiate any experience that's connected to that root. So we don't really have to go back and renegotiate every single trauma experience. It's like, it really just cuts straight to it. And that's what I love about completion process.
That's nice. And can you tell us what exactly happens? You already told us it's going back to the root, but how does the healing itself would look like? Let's say a client is coming to you for a session. So tell us what's exactly happening within a session.
Yeah. So, well, the way that I work with people now is a little bit different than how I used to work with them. But what happens in a typical session is, first, if the person has nervous system regulation, that's the number one thing that we're going to make sure that they have online. Because if we just throw a person into their trauma, that's kind of what they've been doing their whole life. Is we call the T0 experience, or the most traumatic part, which is usually what people go to when they're processing trauma. So first, we just get a really nice foundation of, can the person's system handle going there? And so we develop that capacity first. And then when the person is ready, it looks like going back, really, first of all, understanding why those emotions are there in the first place, why those feelings are happening, why the triggers are happening, finding out, and for some people, they don't always get the memory. So sometimes we're just working with actually processing and moving through an emotional state that never got to complete. Sometimes it's a self-protective response that never got to complete. And so it looks like moving a person through what they weren't able to do. So, let's say someone was yelling at you and you couldn't escape or run away, but you had to stay frozen. But what you wanted to do was maybe to punch them in the face or to run away. So we get in touch with those things that were essentially locked up within the system, and we complete those things. And so a person gets this feeling of, oh yeah, okay, relief. We're really looking for what is going to create relief. And it also gives a person this sense of autonomy, like, wow, I can do this, like I can show up. And we're building this inner I can, and this inner adult, this objective observer that can start to caretake and look at these internal inner children, or this pain, or these parts, however you want to call it.
That's beautiful. So, so towards the end of the session, so maybe you can also give us like an example of a client, if you have maybe a specific type of problem that the client came to you for, and how the session looked like, and what happened towards the end of it, and what kind of results was the client able to see after that.
Sure. Yeah. Like an example would be somebody coming in and feeling really powerless in their life. Like they just don't feel like they don't even know where to start. They just feel completely powerless, maybe depressed. And so we go into that powerlessness. We really like get familiar with the landscape of that emotion. And we might find out, for example, okay, we really spend time with it, and then we figure out, where is this coming? When was the first time I experienced this? Well, the first time I experienced this was when, I was watching my dad and my mom argue, and nobody was paying attention to me, and I was completely scared, and I felt completely helpless to do anything about it. Okay, and then so we're like, we step in usually to the first person perspective of the child that's in the situation, again, to re-experience this in a safe and healthy way. And throughout the process, help the person to resolve whatever. And it looks so different for every person depending on what they need. So for that person, it might have been, we get in there and they're like, I just want them to shut up. I want them to stop fighting with each other. So we bring in some alternate beings or therapists or something that can help the parents. And then we check in as the child, oh, how's that feeling? Oh, I feel so much better right now. I feel like it's not my responsibility to take care of them. Okay, well, what else is going on here? And we just sort of start to parse out what's happening. And it's this really natural process, because eventually a person reaches this space of, yeah, that feels good enough. And then there's other, pieces, and we get them to a safe haven. And by the end, there's sort of two options. You can either merge with this inner child, or this part that we've found, which is the full integration, and a person basically gets that part of themselves back that they had to fracture off from, which, when I talk about what is childhood and developmental trauma, that's what we're talking about. We're talking about a splitting off of a part of a belief, of a value, of a trait. And so they get part of themselves back, and they have now access to all of the beautiful things that were lost in losing that part of themselves, all the gifts. And there's this feeling of just completion, of relief, that I successfully renegotiated that. That's what I needed to happen. And now I'm not carrying this thing around with me. It's also not pulling on me. And the response to stimulus, because of that, oftentimes changes. So the triggers will change. The way that a person responds to stimulus that maybe otherwise would have been triggering, it shifts.
Yeah, that's nice. And I really love how you are going down to the deep root of it and pulling it out. So what kind of results were some of your clients had been able to get? So maybe they come in with anxiety or depression or any kind of emotional problems they might have. So what kind of results have they been able to get?
Yeah, I've seen huge shifts in my clients' lives, and some of them where it's, from the outside, it might seem like the tower is falling before it gets rebuilt. So I've seen people meet the love of their life and have the family that they never thought was possible. I've seen people leave partners and start businesses because that was what they needed to do to, just huge shifts in self-worth, in their ability to put themselves out there or be authentic, to shift relationships within family dynamics and have boundaries for what feels good for them. So many things, like every aspect of a person's life gets shifted through doing this.
Yeah, of course, all of those stored in emotions, from that very young age is kind of self-sabotaging us in all areas of our lives. So when we are like pulling it out, it's like all area of our lives starts shifting and changing. Beautiful. So now let's quickly do the 10-minute healing that you have for us. So my dear viewers, Rowan has agreed to give us a gift of a quick group kind of a healing, but this has nothing to do with the actual completion process itself, because as she explained, it is completely a one-on-one session with regards to completion process, which usually takes more than 90 minutes or so. But today it's just a meditation that she has given us that would help us in this kind of, in a group setting. Okay, so let's get started.
Yeah. Okay, so for wherever you are in this moment, just start to notice where your attention or your focus is. So you might be watching this, maybe your attention is outside of yourself. So just start to bring your awareness into your body if that's possible. And with this scanning, just going to scan and comb through our whole body and just notice anything that we notice. You might notice something that feels positive or good. Might notice something that feels neutral, or even something that might be pulling or tugging at you. Something that feels maybe negative or heavy. So whatever you notice, see if you can let that feeling or whatever you notice expand and get a little bit bigger. Notice the location where it is in your body. Maybe it has a specific kind of texture to it, a color, a temperature. Really get familiar with what this feeling is like. Like a curious new relationship or a friend, somebody that you're interested in getting to know a little bit about. And see if maybe this feeling or sensation has anything that it wants to share with you. Might come out like just a few words. You might hear a single word, get an image of something. And so taking in whatever it is that this sensation or feeling wants to share with you, maybe ask, what is it that this part of me or this feeling really needs? And see if maybe it would even be possible to complete meeting that need in the image channel. So imagining what it would be like to meet that need. Maybe it's a hug. Maybe it's a favorite food item. And really notice what it's like for this part or this feeling or this sensation to really have the option to have its needs met. What does it feel like to have what you need? I'm really taking a second just to let that land. And then curiously, just start to, thank this part of yourself and keep the scan or this combing through moving along. And see what else you can notice is happening in your experience right now. Might be nice for a moment to even bring your awareness to the outer edges of your body. It's sort of this option to shift really gently your awareness between the outer edges just rate what's right around you, and then that internal scanning. Just seeing what qualities are the same or different. Is there one that feels better for you? Do they both feel the same? Just notice where your attention is right now. Might have popped into a thought. And so just, again, consciously bringing your awareness maybe back into your body and landing on something else different from the first internal thing. And noticing where this is at in your body. And if we were to just fully let this be here, what would that be like? What would it mean for me if I really just let myself be right here? And then again, just bringing your awareness consciously to what you're paying attention to. And seeing if we can let this sensation or feeling get a little bit bigger. And just like we were doing before, really curiously wanting to know this sensation or feeling. You might greet it like a curious new friend. And then ask this sensation or feeling what it has to share with you. Maybe it has an object or a gift for you. And if it does, maybe you can place that object in a specific place in your body that feels good. To keep it for safekeeping. And then we'll ask this feeling, what does it need the most? And really listening intently. Again, seeing if it's something that you could complete in the image channel. Really seeing what it would be like to meet that need. Even getting a feel for what it's like to receive that. Really let yourself take that in. So important that we really allow ourselves to land with those good feelings. Then wherever you are, might even invite you, if it feels good, to bring your awareness maybe out into your environment, or feel free to keep your eyes closed. And if you are keeping your eyes closed, then maybe just continuing through to scan again and seeing what else you can notice. This time, maybe gearing towards noticing something that feels good in your body. And if you have your eyes open, seeing what feels good to look at outside of you, letting your eyes sort of land on that thing. And if you can't find something that feels positive within your body, maybe try to find something that feels neutral. Could even just be the tip of your finger. Just one little location. Could be one little object in the room. And notice what it's like. Like, how do you know that it feels neutral or positive? What does neutral or positive feel like in your body? Yeah. And just letting yourself land right there wherever you are. And if you haven't brought your awareness out yet, maybe just again noticing the edges of your body, where you begin and where you end. And slowly bringing yourself back to the space that you're in. Nice.
Wow, that was a beautiful session. Wow. Ooh.
Thank you for participating.
Yeah, it was totally different from what I've experienced before, and I was able to sense and see different types of emotions, but I usually have like visual images coming up. So I was feeling some huge block around my face and head, and it was like, but I was able to finally release it, and it feels totally different. Wow.
Oh, that's interesting. Thanks
Yeah,
for sharing that.
that's so beautiful. Thank you so much. So quickly, let's discuss about the services that you have. So tell us about what different types of services do you offer for your clients?
Yeah, so I do one-on-one sessions with people, and a typical session is 90 minutes. For first or new clients, our first session is usually about 2 hours, because there's 20 or 30 minutes of getting to know each other and setting up groundwork of where you're at and what are the goals. And so a 90-minute session with me is $150. And then I have packages where if you commit to 5 sessions with me, it goes down to $140 per session. And if you do 10 sessions with me, it goes down to $130 per session. And then I also offer a workshop once a month, which is the last day of every month. And that's usually 2 to 2.5 hours long, and that's $35 per workshop. And that's a really great option to like connect with other people who are interested in doing the same stuff, create a little bit of community. Sometimes for people, it's less intense than maybe doing one-on-one, or they kind of want to get a feel for it before. And the nice thing about the online workshops is that there's an opportunity for every person that comes to not only definitely process their own stuff and actually get really valuable tools, but there's a chance to really do the one-on-one there as well within the group setting. So that's a cool option.
That's so beautiful, and I really love this online workshop that you're doing. It's like a quick taster for the clients if they want to do a one-on-one session later. But again, in and itself has a beautiful option of getting our healing done at the same time. So that's so beautiful that you're doing it. That's nice. So my dear viewers, I'm gonna post Rowan's link in the box below, so you can click on the link below to go ahead and book a session. So when you click on the link, it will take you to the Zero Point Healing profile page of hers, in which there's a book a session button. You can click on the button to have a quick chat with her if you would like to have a conversation with her before booking the session. And from there, you can do the session with her. As well as, just for watching this video, you have a 10% off discount coupon code, and the discount coupon code is 0 Point. So when you contact her, please do mention that you found her from 0 Point, and she will be giving you a discount as well. So thank you, Rowan. That was a beautiful session. I'm still in the session, so I'm like, my mouth is like still in it's just doing this. Thank you so much. That was a wonderful session. All right, my dear viewers, we are ending the show here. If you have any questions about her healing sessions, you can just reach out to her. And again, the monthly workshop is amazing, and it's coming up very soon. So you can sign up for the monthly workshop if you're interested. Thank you so much. If you're watching this on YouTube, please do share and subscribe to the channel so you get to see all different types of interviews and beautiful healers and facilitators who are coming on the show, as well as share it, especially if you know any of your family or friends, members who are going through any kind of emotional trauma, anxiety, depression, or any sorts of trauma. This video and the healing session that she has given us for free itself is an amazing tool. So please do share this video with everyone who you think is going to benefit from this. Thank you so much for all your support. Thank you, Rowan. I'm going to let you go. See you next time. Thank you. Bye-bye.